The ACHR News recently held their CEO Forum at the ACHR conference in Orlando. Industry leaders from Carrier, Goodman, Lennox, Rheem, Ingersoll Rand, and Johnson Controls participated. One of the topics discussed was the regional standards legislation.
Well, first of all, you're asking me to give advice to the government. I'm not sure that's a good place to start. But I think the one thing that is very clear is, in my view, the government needs to spend time with organizations like ACCA, with Hardy, and with AHRI, and collectively create a solution. I think the challenge we have, and I think a little bit of this was played out as we went through the regional standards, as a total industry, we probably could have done a better job of coming together as those regional standards were being created. And so I think that's behind us. Presumably the furnace piece is off the table, and so now it's really focused on the cooling side. And I think that the next step really needs to be getting us together as an industry to come up with an appropriate solution. The solution that a manufacturer, like those of us on the stage, may select probably isn't going to be the same one that a contractor would select. And so I think there has to be some give and take, and we really need to take that task on with the DOE directly, and I know that's what AHRI is assuming will happen as we go forward, and we'll have to wait and see what that ends up being.
Open up to anyone else on the panel like to chime in on this? Not everybody at once?
Not going to touch government regularly.
I'll go ahead and jump in. I agree with Dave that I think one thing we've got to do is learn from our collective mistakes as an industry, and I would say that we didn't put our best foot forward in a full collaborative effort on figuring out how the regional standards were going to go into effect and what it meant as we were advocating those solutions. And it's important that we don't lose sight of that, having created an issue. And I would say that right now, the conversations that we've been involved in would indicate that we are doing a much better job and spending a lot more time with manufacturers associations as well as contractors and distributors trying to figure out solutions that are good for everybody. And the one thing I can say that I've been privy to as we've gone through these conversations is that everyone is focused on making sure that we have a solution that puts more onus on educating the consumer. A lot of it coming from manufacturers and how we, adhere to putting different hang tags on, how we educate consumers about what those efficiencies are that they have to adhere to, and not putting the burden administratively on contractors or distributors. I mean, that's just something that has to be an absolute line in the sand that we say it's just not something that we should burden small businesses with. We've got to figure out, if the government thinks this is the right thing to do, how we can put the onus on the consumer, and then maybe local municipalities to enforce it. But we're certainly not in favor of putting any administrative burden anywhere in the channel.